I have to call the bagel lady on the 21st.
The bagel lady?
Yes, the lady who owns the bagel place.
I dropped off all the things I love. Like I need a traffic jam to keep in touch. I can't focus on the words unless my hands are busy. I can't give up on the world or I will leave this city. And it's way too broad what I'm trying to say, but I write it down and let it go. And it's hard to know all the words I need to explain my heart in a single note.
Hello, and welcome to WayTooBroad, a show and tell program for really, really ridiculous, excitable grown-ups. I'm Hannah, and these are my co-hosts, Erin and Ben. Hi, Erin.
Hello, Hannah. Hello, Ben.
Hello.
Guess what? I think we have a completely Taylor Swift-free episode coming to you this week.
Wow.
I think.
Do we?
I think so. I can't make promises, but Erin has said that her obsession is not Taylor Swift related, and mine isn't either.
It's not.
So
It's not.
yeah, unless you had some sort of awakening.
Nope.
Okay.
Awakening.
Great. Well, welcome in. So this is
Welcome in.
we should also say we are recording this at the end of the we're recording this a week before it comes out, basically a little over a week. So if there are some things that happen in the news that you were like, why wouldn't they talk about this? That's why. I mean, not that we're like a news show.
Yeah, but that's such a good point. Like something really dramatic could have happened, and we'll just be out in the podcast world just gabbing.
Yeah,
We can give a huge shout out to Pennsylvania for not electing Dr. Oz to be their fucking senator.
Oh my God.
though.
Huge shout out.
Congratulations.
Oh, and we have the first ever lesbian governor is in Massachusetts.
You know, I
Congratulations.
had no idea she was a lesbian. I obviously was going to vote for her and did vote for her. And
Ben, her campaign bus was a U-Haul. I'm just joking.
it also was like,
How great would that be, though?
That would be so good.
her campaign bus was a U-Haul.
If something really dramatic does happen in the week that we're not recording, then I'm sorry that happened, or congratulations.
Yes. Yeah. That's a heartfelt sorry or congrats from us to you, whoever you may be.
I hope this ages well.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's do what are we drinking? It's me first. I'm Hannah.
What are you drinking?
I have two drinks. I have a raspberry pink lemonade polar seltzer in a can, and then I have an Oktoberfest. This is a Paul Anner Oktoberfest Marzen. Ian said it's one of the like official ones that they serve it.
I like that one.
It's great. I love it.
Yeah, it's a good one.
That's what Ian said. You guys have a lot in common.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
I like the same Oktoberfest.
Erin, what are you drinking?
Well, I'm drinking part of a seltzer that I left on my desk and a water, and also I grabbed what I thought was my fresh black cherry seltzer from downstairs, but it's like an old one.
Oh.
So I'm not doing too good on the drink department.
Did you take a sip and it was like flat and warm?
Yes.
Oh, worse.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened.
I have well, Ben, tell us what you're drinking first and then I'll loop back to
Tell us about your big mug of water, and then we'll...
It's my big mug of water. That's it.
All right.
Ooh.
I saw this video on TikTok of a young man who was taste testing a bottle of dry grape Canada Dry or something. It was a ginger ale with the dry grape flavor.
Dry grape is raisin, no?
That's a great question, and I don't have an answer for you on what dry grape means.
Not a question.
That's a question.
We You didn't phrase it like a question or use vocal tone like a question.
I phrased
Dry
it.
grape is a raisin, though.
I
That's
said
a great
no.
question.
I said no. I said no.
Oh, okay. I heard dry grape is a raisin, though, and Hannah say that's a great question. I don't have an answer for you. Which is actually a great way to answer a statement that you don't agree with.
Yeah, that's true.
I have actually done that before where I'll say good question no matter what to people, even if it's not. Like someone asked me a stupid question on Slack today, and I was like, good question. Here's like an answer that makes it obvious that your question was stupid.
Oh my God.
Or if someone says something to you like, coffee is gross, you can be like, good question. I don't have an answer for you right now. Good question. I don't think it is.
You know what's so sad about what you just said, Ben, is that I actually, like, in my whole life, I'm just realizing now, I legitimately feel like a sense of pride whenever someone says good question to me.
Yeah.
Like, when I
too.
ask a question and someone's like, good question. Like, even if it's not a good question, I'm like, oh, thanks.
I do that like 100% of the times in interviews when I'm being interviewed and someone asks a question. I'll be like, that's a great question.
That's awesome.
And I feel like I'm like just pumping them full of
I love that.
happiness. Yeah.
That's a good
Yeah.
strategy.
Wow. Okay. I'll be like, yeah. Oh,
Wow, that's a
great question.
thinker.
Because you love it. You love it when you ask a question and somebody's like, oh man.
Yeah.
Wow. Great question. Hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
love that. I do love that.
Everyone loves that. Everyone loves to ask a curveball.
Yeah. Oh, okay, but the dry grape
Okay.
guy.
So Canada Dry grape ginger ale,
yeah,
grape soda.
it was a ginger ale that was like grape flavored. It actually doesn't matter at all. The point is
Okay.
that
Was it explicitly dry grape flavored? At this
Yes.
point, it matters. to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
it was.
Okay.
So is Canada Dry grape?
I don't know if it was. I think it was Schweppes.
Ginger ale.
I think it was Schweppes.
Ginger ale.
Actually, it was.
Oh my
ginger
God.
ale.
Oh my god.
Okay.
What?
Jesus Christ.
And did they have a wet grape?
So not the point. I could have
Okay.
not even specified the
You
flavor.
brought it up.
I know. So he was taste testing it. I stayed because I thought the flavor was interesting, right? But then he like chugged it, and it was a great video. However, I noticed like halfway through watching it, I was like, that looks warm. And then I was like, how can it look warm? And so then I commented and I asked him, is this room temperature? And he replied, I can't chug a cold soda, which means I was right.
What the fuck?
How did I know that from looking at it?
Was the
Well,
no condensation on the can? Or
There was
something?
no,
Yeah.
it was a glass. No, it was plastic, but there wasn't any condensation on it. That's true. And the bubbles, I feel like were
'Cause-
acting different, maybe.
Oh, okay. You takes one to know one.
Oh, because yeah. Okay.
Takes one.
Because you drink warm seltzers
Takes
all
a
the
warm
time.
seltzer to know a warm seltzer.
Yeah,
Takes a warm seltzer drinker to know a warm seltzer drinker.
I guess so. Well, it's just those. I just find those things really interesting. That it's like you can perceive them
Yeah.
without realizing it. Like you know how you can tell the difference just by ear of a cold water or hot water being poured. Have you ever?
No.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can.
You can?
Yeah. Let me see if I can. Pull up
Also,
this video.
have y'all seen that picture? It's like I can't explain it, but the peas are upside down.
Yeah.
No.
That's a great example.
That sounds like something you posted in food at some point.
Yeah, Ben, I'm excited to show this to you if it truly is the first time that you've seen it.
Oh, they are.
They just are.
Wow.
And what? But why?
What the fuck?
It's like you see it and you know, but then you can't really articulate why they're upside down, or it would take you a while.
Well,
Maybe
it's
you can
because-
eventually get there.
I think I can
It's shadows,
like
right?
it's because of the way they
Okay.
look like they're like stacked behind each other. They're
Yeah.
going the wrong direction.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
gravity is wrong. It's bad. The gravity's bad.
Like, is this
gravity's bad.
is this
Yeah.
this is what I'm wondering is this actually just a picture of a plate, or did they actually just like splice together different photos of food and the peas are actually upside down?
I think they spliced it in, and the peas are upside down.
I think they really are upside down.
I think they're upside down, and it's just so interesting to me that, like, in a split fucking second, you can look at it and Google it at home if you're at home and you don't know what we're talking about.
Or if you're at
In
work.
a split second, or if you're or if you're standing in line somewhere, or if you're not driving,
if you're not
you're
driving,
in a park,
Google it.
somewhere, or if you're at a friend's house for dinner, heaven forbid. That's a callback from a non-recorded segment. But I just and it's just the splittest of a second, like the first glance at the image, you're like, the peas are upside down, but then you just have such a hard time understanding why.
I love the idea of calling regular conversations non-recorded segments. Like anytime we talk, it's a non-recorded segment.
By the way, it was recorded.
No, shut up, Ben. That's not what this is about.
Yeah, I like that too.
We have an email. Hold on.
I don't think it's real.
Hannah, do we actually have an email?
Yeah, we got a comment on YouTube.
Oh my god.
I get
Hannah.
occasion. Hannah, it's not real.
It's from our episode 228. He's 100% corn-fed American beef. It's from Nell's Draft. Thank you, Nell's. And it says promosum.
What?
Wait, I don't even see this fucking email. Oh, here it is. I found it. What the fuck is that?
It's a different language, I think. It's
There's
got
a
some
backwards
characters
R
in it.
and the O's are thetas. And the S is backwards.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Bro.
Well, thanks.
Thanks, Nels.
Thanks, Nels.
Appreciate you. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for the engagement.
All right. But yeah, email us maybe about other stuff besides Promosum when you have a chance. We would love to hear from you in English. That would be great. Upfronts. Oh, sorry, a cat just ran by. Upfronts. I have one. Do you guys have any?
No. What's your upfront?
I had
What's
an
your
upfront.
upfront?
It's kind of maybe more of an honorable mention. I don't know, but I listened to an audio book. I listened to a book this week because I was commuting for the first time in like ever. Also, I had a lot of extra time in the car because I drove the wrong way home on the highway for like 30 minutes at one point. Well, okay, maybe more like 20, but yeah, I was like,
That sucks.
yeah, it was dark. It was only, 5.
you
It
live
was
yeah.
dark.
Far from that office, don't you?
Yes, I live like an hour and a half from the office.
Do you?
Yeah, so I drove, like hour 15, hour and a half. So I drove in the morning, A-okay, totally fine. And then on the way home, it takes like this convoluted, like you get onto one highway and then you get off onto another highway. And like it takes you like south for like a second, but then you're supposed to go north. And I just kept going south. And so I ended up like heading towards my old house instead of my new house.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So, but it was fine because I got to finish I'm Glad My Mom Died by
Oh yeah.
Jeanette McCurdy. Excuse me.
You recommend?
Totally. Okay, here's what I will say. It's really heartbreaking. Like the majority of the book, she's a great writer. She really puts you in like her headspace while she was living, like experiencing all these things. So it's really fascinating because you as the reader are like, this is abuse. But like she is still making all these mental excuses for like her mom and the other people in her life that are mistreating her. And like you're inside of her like sort of mind palace, right? So
Coping mechanisms
yeah.
and stuff.
So for a long time, it's like it's almost like you want to just like shake her and be like, you don't have to live like this, but like obviously you can't, and obviously she knows that now. She has that perspective now. But yeah, her life was really tough for a long time, and it wasn't all her mom's fault, but a fucking lot of it was. But it's a really, really, really engaging, really great book. It's just like you have to be ready to hear some really heavy stuff because there's a lot of heavy stuff in there.
Cool.
Yeah, but it is funny too. But it's just like sprinkled in amongst a lot of sadness. So
Yeah.
but yeah, it's good.
No doubt. I have an upfront question. How was the World or the final of League.
yeah.
Ben, can you describe everything to Erin, please? I watched the whole thing. I had almost the whole thing. I had a great time, but I'm not going to be able to describe what happened.
Love it.
I don't even know. Well,
Who won?
Deft.
Hell
He
yeah.
fucking did it. It was amazing. It was
Awesome.
It was the best.
Oh, can I just, if you
It was
guys
the
don't know
best
what we're
finals
talking
in
about,
history.
listeners, thank you for listening. If you don't know what we're talking about, thank you for going back
you.
to the last episode and listening to that one because
you.
it was Ben's obsession.
Thank you in advance for going back and listening to the last episode. Thank you. Thank you so much. Good question.
Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah. It was the best finals in history, like 100%. It went to all 5 games. It was very back and forth, like very, very tense. Except with the exception of the first game. The first game was a fucking snoozer, and T1 Faker's team just absolutely stomped Def's team.
So it wasn't looking good there.
It was not looking good, but listen, DRX lost the first game of every single series they played in Worlds. And most of them they got stomped in. So it was their comfort zone. And then game 2 was the longest game of all of the entire tournament. It was like 45 minutes long. It was very drawn out, like very tense. Came down to like one really close fight. Also, like basically every game from that point on was like very back and forth.
Yeah.
And there were just like so many fucking crazy moments. So many. There's a really important objective on the map. This is giant like purple worm thing called Baron. That basically when you kill it gives your whole team a buff that makes it easier to end the game. And it was stolen by T1 3
Let me
times,
explain
I
what
think.
that means. Because I think I know, and then you can correct me if I'm wrong. But basically, like the team so there's like 5 people on each team. The team that gets all the buffs from killing something is the team that basically lands the last blow.
Yeah, exactly.
So to steal the Baron means like the other team was like doing all of the legwork, but then at the last second, like one person comes in and like hits the final blow on it. Like the timing has to be perfect. They have to have the right angle. They have to have like a certain amount of protection from like anybody else coming at them.
Yeah. And there were like multiple.
There were like 2 or 3 in one game, right?
Yeah, there was one game where T1 stole Baron twice, and DRX ended up losing that game. And then in game 5, T1 stole Baron again, and it looked like a repeat of game 3, which is the one where the 2 Baron steals happened, and DRX managed to still pull it out and win that game. Like that was the game 5 was maybe the most back and forth because T1 had such a huge early game lead because DRX just kind of fucked up like a few times, but they just have absolutely unbreakable mental. It's honestly incredible.
Yeah.
Like they never.
They don't give up. They just didn't
never give up, never get tilted despite getting this fucking objective stolen from them so many times and it happening again in the last game of the world fucking finals, and they still pulled it out and won the game. It was amazing.
Wow. It was so
It was
good.
also
Cool.
there were also there was a really cool reason why the game 5 draft was cool. Draft meaning like what champions they picked. That's kind of hard to explain without more context, but just for the League fans out there. Well, I guess this part's not hard to explain. Like something that's really cool that happens in long tournaments specifically and World specifically is most of the time throughout the league season and professional league season, the game is patched every 2 weeks. So that's like when Riot comes in and makes balance changes like buffs and nerf stuff depending on what's good. And so it's a constantly changing game, but during tournaments, they freeze and stay on the same patch for the entire tournament. So Worlds is the longest tournament of the year. It's like a month long. It's like a month and a bit long. And so there's this really cool thing that happens whereas normally the meta is kind of constantly shifting by virtue of the patch just like Riot changing things constantly. The meta still shifts throughout Worlds, but it's because people are like really figuring out what is actually the best on the patch. And so like what champions are picked can like evolve over the entire tournament, and even within a particular series, kind of depending on what the players are in that series are good at, you can have like a meta that's specific to a series, and that kind of happened in this case, and ended up like making the game 5 draft very interesting. with the like retrospective of the rest of the series. Yeah, it was just so many things about it were great, and the fact that Deft got to win, and like even just like so when Faker last was in finals in 2017 and lost, he like, excuse you, Como's here and he bites me.
That's rude.
Fucking rude as hell.
So he's a Faker fan.
Fucking T1 fanboy. Faker like famously cried a lot on stage, like kind of broke down a bit, and when it happened this time, he was like much more reserved, and even like he even did a post-game interview where he just was like congratulating Deft. Like he had very obviously matured a lot as a person too, which was cool. Not to say that being emotional means you're immature, but he was just able to handle that pressure a little more than he was able to handle the pressure more, I think.
Yeah.
And like comfort because all of his teammates are much younger than him and less experienced. Like this was their first World Finals, all of them. So he was able to kind of be a rock for them, which was cool. It was great. Nice. It was just excellent. It was
fantastic.
It's going to be very hard for any World Finals to ever top that, to be honest, but we'll see.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Glad Hannah got to watch it.
Yeah. It was so fun. I got high and I watched it, so I like super watched it as we discussed last week. And I was like messaging Ben the whole time, get to try to understand things better, and he was helping me. And then it was really hard because it was so exciting. Like I told Ben, it was like watching the 2004, not the World Series, but the
like Red Sox whole postseason.
Yeah, there was the
ALCS specifically against the Yankees.
When the Red Sox won the World Series in 2004, but the actual World Series was not that exciting. But the one where they won
the series just before.
The series just before was just like this. It went to 5 games, and it was like extra innings throughout all of the games, and there were like several times when it just really looked like they were gonna lose, and then
they were down 3-0 in that series and came back to win it in 7 games.
That's true. So it was a little different in that way, which had never happened before.
Yeah,
but it felt like that level of like amazement and excitement, except it all happened in one night. And then the other different thing was I had like absolutely no one to talk to about it for the rest of the week, because I even tried to bring it up in Sydney's stream, because I thought maybe some people in there who play video games would know about league stuff, and they were all just like, no, I mean, I heard something about it, but like nobody wanted to talk to me about it.
Oh no.
So I'm like delighted to be here.
Yeah, it's honest. Like I have been thinking about it since it happened. It was just so thrilling.
Yeah, it was.
I love that.
Cool.
Love that.
Great. I'm glad we got to talk about that. I can't believe I almost forgot. I was really looking forward
I almost
to
did too.
about it. Yeah.
Wow. Good thing I'm out here.
Yeah.
Asking all the good questions.
Yeah. Truly.
True. Good question.
All right. Should we pop into me then?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
What do you got?
what's up?
What do you got?
Oh, okay. Well,
What the fuck did you think I said?
I don't know. So Love is Blind season 3 ended. So I thought that I would maybe read you some of my notes.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? Did I tell you this? When someone comes to me and is like, oh, talk to me about like Love is Blind or like those reality shows, I'm always like, oh, Molly watches those. Kind of as a like, don't talk to me about it.
Did Molly watch this season?
Yeah.
Oh, I would love to talk to Molly about
And
it.
she would love to hear your
Can
notes,
you
which I
remind
guess
me
she's about
what
to.
it is?
Molly is my wife. Sorry, is that what you meant? Remind you what?
What Love is Blind is.
Okay, yeah, I will talk a little bit about what it is, and kind of how it goes before I read my notes. I'm not going to spend a lot of effort on explaining like who all the people are. There is one particular situation I want to talk about that's kind of come up in the discourse since the season ended, which was yesterday at this point in time, as we're recording. But so there will be spoilers, but I'll tell you when the spoilers will start. So Love is Blind is a show that is produced by Nick Lachey and Vanessa Lachey, of 98 Degrees fame. Well, he is.
Not Vanessa.
They're weird. They exclusively produce dating shows now and talk about their marriage and like all of the shows that they produce.
Really?
They also host, but they're like barely in them. Like they show up in like the first episode, and then like usually some episode like halfway through, and then for the end and the not even at the weddings actually, but the post show they host, like the reunion episode. So they're
Nick
like,
Lachey was the one who was married to Jessica Simpson, right?
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't he kind of shitty? Or am I mixing
Yeah.
it up?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I don't like to look at him, and so I can't be that mad.
Does that surprise you, Ben, that he's now hosting reality shows and he's shitty?
No, true.
You're like, wait a second. Isn't he shitty though?
Yeah, and all of
Yeah.
the shows have like really weird premises. Like the other one that they host is called The Ultimatum, which I don't know if I've brought that, but I did also watch that because I do like garbage TV. It's just that's the truth of it at this point.
They have another one. It's a spinoff of Love is Blind. It's called Love Can't Smell. And they remove this sense of smell and taste from all the contestants. And
So
it's a whole thing.
yeah, that's a tricky one.
Yeah.
So Love is Blind, the deal is that they have like, I don't know, a dozen men and a dozen women. It's always hetero couples.
Yeah. What else would it be?
Well, they're not couples actually. There's a bunch of single people, but yeah, they live separately. They never see each other, the men and the women. But then they have these things called the pods, which are like just little sitting rooms, and there's a wall in the middle of them that you can hear through. But you can't see the other person at all. So they'll go and like date each other in these pods and just talk about stuff. And they're kind of not supposed to talk about what they look like, but a lot of times they still do, or like they ask questions to kind of get at like, what do you look like? Like one girl like one girl's a Pilates instructor, one girl's a ballet dancer. So like the guys are immediately like, oh, I bet you're limber, right? Like stuff like that. This gross stuff, right? And they are in the pods, or in like the place with the pods, for 10 days, just deciding who they want to talk to every day. And the goal is for them to find someone who they love enough that they want to marry them and propose before they see each other.
What the fuck?
They fully propose, Ben.
Yeah, they fully
What?
propose. Yes.
They can't see each other until they propose. And if they don't propose, they don't get to see
That's
each other,
right.
Ben.
That's right.
What the fuck?
Yeah. So
Is this a form of torture?
So then they get to meet each other, and then they go on like a honeymoon. And every couple that has like found each other goes on this honeymoon to the same place, right? Not a honeymoon. They're not
same
married
time?
yet. They go on a vacation together. And every couple people who don't pair off end up like leaving. They don't do anything more really.
They get
They're
killed.
shot and killed.
Yeah.
Damn it.
That's right.
Yeah, but the rest of them all go to the same place, and they'll like spend time together one-on-one to see if they like, you know, physically vibe with each other. But then they'll also bring them together to meet each other, like all the people that they didn't choose, all the people they got rejected by, all the people they rejected, to see what all of them look like. And they feed them just like
Trauma.
tons and tons and tons of alcohol. Every time they get these people together, you can tell they're wasted, right? Like it's really like upsetting, honestly. And then they move them into these quote unquote apartments after their honeymoon. So it's 2 weeks like on this vacation, and then 2 weeks living together in an apartment. And at that point, they will, you know, also meet each other's family if the family's willing to. They'll, you know, see each other's actual apartments. They're all usually from the same city. I think this year it was Dallas. So they do have their own places, but they stay, you know, in like a whatever. So they'll, you know, just try to get a sense of what it would be like to actually live with them and be married to them. And then after 2 weeks of doing that, then they have a wedding, and they have to decide at the
On the
altar
show.
whether or not they want to get married. And
What the fuck?
Yeah. And people have bailed out before the wedding part before, but most of the time, like, it really seems like the goal of production is to have them get to the altar without really indicating to each other or to the camera whether they're going to say yes or no. Oftentimes people will say that they didn't know if they were going to say yes or no until they got to the altar. Which is just not a healthy way to feel on your wedding day at all. Like, under any circumstances. Like, people will have these conversations. I was saying to Ian, he doesn't watch it, but I was like sitting with him and watching it. And I was like, if someone had come up to me on our wedding day and said, do you think that Ian's going to say yes up there? Which happens at every one of these weddings. I would be so angry. I would be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, get out of here. What do you mean? Like, what? Like,
Yeah.
Which obviously,
That's why the fuck we're here.
Yeah.
We gonna spend all this money and drag everybody from the ends of the earth
because
to say no.
Yeah, because like I do think they definitely use the same wedding setup for all of the weddings. So they're not paying for 5 weddings; they're paying for 1 basically, and I'm sure production is paying for it. But they do the whole wedding dress fitting thing. They invite their friends and family. Like, these weddings are packed with people.
Fucking God.
And then like 3. Okay, sorry, this is getting into spoilers now, but 3 out of 5 of them said no. That's
Holy shit.
and it's not.
I mean, yeah, that's no shit.
5 out of 5 of them should have said
Yeah,
no.
In the
honestly.
last 3 seasons, I think there's one couple that's still together. Like, they'll always
You're
ask
telling
them-
me this isn't the best way to start a relationship together?
So all of that is to say, I am not really recommending this show necessarily. I don't think, like, I enjoy watching it. I think if you're a person who likes trash reality TV, you will like watching it. I think this season was in many ways much more satisfying at the end than a lot of other seasons. And I will talk about that a little bit. But, you know, if this all sounds really gross to you, like my 2 co-hosts here, don't bother watching it. Don't consider this a recommendation, because that's not really what it is. It's just what I'm obsessed with right now because it just ended.
Yeah, that's fair.
So
I have seen part of the season, and it hooks you in.
yeah. Well, there were a few like really notable things this season. The first one that really went viral that you may have seen is there was this guy named Andrew who got rejected in the 3rd episode. Excuse me. And he and the editors really did him dirty, because I'm sure this has happened before, but he had eye drops with him, and he was like, oh, hold on a second, and like put eye drops in his eyes, and like too many, and then like used them as fake tears. Like he was like, oh, I never thought I would feel so strongly for someone that I would cry, like right after he did that. Like it was really gross. And then that man was really, I already was very suspicious of him, and then that happened, and the eye drops also were
Wow.
weird.
Wow.
That was my first note. My second note was, I have passed so much judgment on these people for falling in love through a wall, but my first boyfriend was on AIM.
Yeah, there you go.
And some of my friends I only know through Twitch and Discord. So there you go.
There you go.
I wrote,
Let she who is not fallen for the unseen cast the first stone.
Yeah.
I thought that was going to come out better.
yeah, no, you did great. You did a great job. Great question.
Please cut that out.
No.
Thank you. Thanks. Great question.
So I'm into my notes now. There's not a lot of them. I'm just gonna read them. This is my long. I told you guys I wrote a long diatribe that wasn't really related to the show about fat phobia. So this is that. Mm-hmm. Imagine someone was complaining to their friend about how people. Did I tell you guys this last time? The comparison that I came up with about noses.
No, I don't think so.
No.
Okay. Imagine someone was complaining to their friend about how people don't like their unique nose, and the other friend said, "No, you don't even have a nose." And then when you insisted you did, in fact, have a nose, of course you do. Why wouldn't you? They say, "Okay, well, sure, maybe you have a unique nose, but if you really hate it, you can always work a lot to change it." Or they say, "Okay, so you have a weird nose, but you're healthy," and you were like, I don't hate my nose, they do. And they said, I think they mean well. They probably just think you're one of the bad ear nose havers who did a bunch of bad stuff to earn their noses. They're just concerned about your health. That's my big thing. And I said, that is what it's like to talk about fat phobia with someone who hasn't unpacked their own internalized fat phobia.
you say I have a nose because of course I do, but they don't on Love Can't Smell.
They chop off their noses.
Yeah.
Love is an anosmic.
Yeah.
In episode 3, I said I don't trust Brennan.
Good to know.
Brennan, okay, I do have to talk about Brennan and Alexa because that's one of the things I really liked about this season, although I did not trust him at this moment in time. That's one of the couples that did get married, and they are still together, and they seem very happy. And we're like, they were on the show so much less than everyone else because they just seemed to enjoy each other and have a healthy relationship. They just vibed immediately, and it worked out for them. And I really think they might last. And it was really great to see because she was not like, she was not what I would call fat, but she was fat for the show. She was like the fattest person who's ever actually coupled up on the show. And it was really like painfully and annoyingly brought up in her first introduction interview. But after that, like, she was full of confidence. He was full of love and attraction for her. It never came up again with anybody. And then they just got married. It was just like a given. Everybody knew.
Wow.
So loved that. Loved to see that.
I'm glad they got married after knowing each other for like 1 month.
Yeah. I wrote down some
That's
gross
great.
quotes that I'm not even gonna put. And then the last thing that's on this page is I don't like coal, which turned out to be a really great instinct on my part. And I will talk about that.
Have you ever liked any Coles in your whole life?
No. Then I switched to my then I got high again a few days later, and I left the notebook I was using downstairs. So instead I started sending myself messages on Slack. So Okay, I'm just going to say this here in case it's a dumb high thought. I think I figured out how they edit reality show conversations to keep up tension. Whenever someone asks a really important question, they just take the direct answer completely out and then trim down and then there's nothing else after that.
There's what?
There's nothing else after that. It's just send on that.
They trim down the...
But you know what I mean, though. Like, you get it.
I don't think I do.
They trim down the Erin.
Oh, okay.
Good question.
Good
Right.
question. Bartiz and his pro-life family all suck. They're fat phobic as hell also. That was one of my notes. Cole's family also sucks, and he's sexist and infantile. Again, great instincts across the board.
Love it.
So
Love
proud
it.
of you.
The Nigerian versus Black American culture is interesting. That was like a big thing with one couple because she was half Black and half white, but like American, like African American, and he was like from Nigeria, and his family was all from Nigeria.
We're using past tense. Did they not get married and then they got shot and killed?
They
the
we're
rules
like
of the
deep in
show?
spoilers now. They did not get married, but they are still together.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Is that allowed?
I mean, they haven't been shot and killed yet, so I assume.
But Nick Lachey's coming for him.
When I watched, he is. When sorry, I'm sorry. When I watched the show, I'm just dazzled by Dominic's reply to me in Nerd Talk.
Oh.
He said, if you want to chat and do Zelda for a little, I'm free. I said, I'm recording pod. He said, I think that'll be fine. You'll be able to hear the gameplay. You just won't be able to see it.
What?
And I just keep trying to figure out what he means. So when I watched it, I was confused at why they didn't just... We're all feeling such pressure about the wedding. I'm like, just ditch the show.
Mm-hmm.
And continue dating. Like, I don't understand why no one took that avenue.
Well, apparently
someone did.
Raven and SK did.
Yeah.
So
It took like 5 seasons.
there's definitely been couples that have gotten back together after this show before, but okay, let's see. I wrote, I'm not convinced Brennan's family is actually fat phobic. Might be editing because they tried to make his family look like they were like, "Are you sure about her?" But I don't think they actually were like that. Definitely conservative though. The editing is sexist as hell. If it was a producer that convinced him to bring up abortion at that dinner, they will go to hell for that. Was one of my notes.
They all go to hell for that.
It was like Bartice and Nancy, those are their names. Nancy is pro-choice and Bartice is not, and they had an intense conversation about it. And then like that night or the next day, it was like the meet the family, and it was like his parents and his sister, and he brought it up, knowing that his family was violently pro-life. He brought it up, like fuck that, dude. Like that's not the time to do that. And he was just looking for an out. He was an asshole. He was a total asshole. Okay. Andrew is so fucking fake. Andrew came back, so I had to mention Andrew again. He's the eye drops guy. Then I just wrote, not gonna lie, this would be me. I don't know what that was in reference to.
I love how you left that note for yourself, knowing you wouldn't have any context.
This would be me.
Not gonna lie.
Bartice is a child, which is true. Bartice at that point was like not interested in Nancy anymore, but he saw her talking to Andrew at like a party. And so because he was playing with his toy, even though he hadn't been, talking to her for days, and she was crying. His toy Nancy, because like he had been ignoring Nancy for days, and then Nancy was crying to Andrew about it, and Bartice came over and was like, what's going on over here? I didn't know. I'm not usually a jealous guy, but I'm feeling jealous right now. What are you guys talking about? Like, she's talking about how you haven't touched her in a week, dude. Like, fuck off right now. Like,
do you know Molly likes this show?
Yeah.
A lot.
Okay. This is okay. It's not gonna work this time because she's not here. So okay. Cole and Colleen are both being so incredibly defensive, projecty, deflecty. Those are my 3 words for them. Nancy should absolutely leave Bartice, which she did, thank God. This is all fake with Matt and Bart. They planned this as an out for that other convo. I was getting real conspiratorial. Besuited dance instructor is so weird. And then I just wrote Bartice's blowjob joke. Ew. I don't know what the joke was, but I didn't like it.
It's hard to have a good blowjob joke.
Yeah. I remember him saying he was going to pump a couple babies into her before they even met face to face, though. Yeah. So that's kind of what we're dealing with in terms of maturity.
Terrible.
Yeah.
This show is dumb.
Yeah. So the thing about this season that was fun was that like the worst guys actually didn't end up marrying the girls who were actually fine and good. And one of the guys who was like, I would say tied for worst, got absolutely destroyed at the altar. She literally said he had demeaned her, he had belittled her, that she loved him, but she hoped that he found someone who could, whatever. She said all this stuff. It was great. And then her friends and family clapped, and then the other half shushed them.
Wow.
So, and there's been a lot of talk in the past 24 hours about that couple, actually, because it was like he cried a lot after that. And when people see like a white man crying, they're like, oh, poor guy, right? And then he cried at the reunion again. But he was very immature. This is Cole, who I mentioned in the notes a few times. He was incredibly immature through the whole thing. Anytime that she would bring up, she wasn't perfect, but her name was Zineb. Anytime that she would bring up something that he was doing that was annoying to her, which was usually like he was very, very messy and disorganized around, even when they were in like they're on their honeymoon, he was like leaving towels everywhere, and like didn't really know how to cook or clean or do anything for himself because he never had to, because his family was so sexist. They'd never just taught him how to like keep house for himself. His apartment was a disaster when they got back. He was like a child, and so she was trying to like, she wasn't accepting that of him, right? And he would, every time she would bring something up, he'd be like, you're being passive aggressive again. And like, it was extremely rude. And then he spent a lot of time talking to her about how much more attractive the girl he hadn't proposed to was, to the point that she said in the reunion episode that she actually like started like heavily calorie restricting while they were on the show and like barely eating. And the times he did see her eat, he would still make comments about it. And he was like, the whole time he was like, that never happened. I never did that. Like, he called her crazy. He asked her one time if she was bipolar. it was like everyone on the show, like all the other people who had been on the show were against him as well. Like you could tell they had seen a lot of stuff that didn't even make the cut, that they were like, yeah, you suck, dude. Like, shut up, like, stop it. And yet still today, a lot of people at the very end of the reunion episode, they showed a clip, which was an instance of her like wanting to eat a couple of those cuties, the little like tangerines, and him being like, are you going to eat both of those? And her being like, yeah, that's a serving. And he's like, oh, you better save your appetite because we're going to have a big dinner tonight. Right. But she like hadn't eaten anything the entire day. And plus like, that's none of his fucking business. And she brought it up and he was like, that never happened. And so they put the clip at the end, and people, the wise general public decided that wasn't serious enough, and actually Zay was overblowing things and she was the villain actually after all. And that's been like the narrative today. And I just really want to put my stake in the ground to say fuck off, because you don't know what the fuck she was going through. And emotional abuse is really hard to detect from the outside, and you can't tell from a 2-minute clip what the fuck she was dealing with all the time. Plus, even in that clip you could tell she was distressed about it, and she was like eating other little snacks and he kept taking them from her, and like I believe her 1,000%. So I just want to say that. And like, if that's what you think today, like reconsider your assumptions and where they're coming from. Are you just sympathizing with him because he cried a lot in the reunion episode? Because that's kind of a deflection tactic, one of many that he uses.
Period.
Yeah. So that's it. Love is Blind season 3. You don't have to watch it now because my notes were so thorough.
Lie, that would be me.
Huh?
I said, not gonna lie, that would be me.
Yeah. Erin, what's your obsession?
All right, good question, Hannah.
Okay.
Good question, Hannah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that comprehensive synopsis of Love is Blind. Appreciate that. Well, I'm back and forth because I have a show that I'm in the middle of that I'm really liking, but I might save that until I'm done. And actually, what I'm truly obsessed with today is a song that I already made Hannah listen to, but I'm gonna make Ben listen to it, and we're gonna call this my whole unadulterated obsession. I have listened to the song so many times today. It's such a bop.
It's very good.
Chloe came over. I made her listen to it. Here it is. I'm going to let this ad play.
What? I want to see the ad.
Oh my gosh, there's 2 ads. I need to just pay for YouTube because I watch it all the time. Okay, so this, about to share my screen. This is a song called Ruin My Life by Zolita. And, the video's pretty good. Yeah. But I'm just fucking obsessed with the song. Here it is. That is such a bop for me.
It's
so it's Ruin My Life by Zolita.
Tell us where you found it.
You know, YouTube gave it to me. YouTube was like, you're gay. Oh, that's
YouTube
the other thing.
Served that right up to you, huh?
Yeah, YouTube. Yeah, so Zolita's gay, and so she's got other
you don't say
pop songs. Yeah, the music video is very gay. And YouTube was like,
although the song really isn't. At least the lyrics aren't explicitly.
The song is about as gay as a Taylor Swift song, I would say, but the video is very gay.
Yeah, the video is very gay. Yeah, the song is not out explicitly gay. A lot of her other songs are, but YouTube was like, you're a lesbian. I think you're gonna like this, and I was like, God damn it, you're right. So, I mean, yeah, it's just a bonus that she's a gay artist because, like, honestly, I'm just like bopping on that song. I've literally been listening to it all day. Can't get it out of my head. I'm bopping just as hard to it now as I was the first time I heard it. So
yeah, the tune in the chorus is really gets stuck in there right away.
So good. And it's like a long chorus. It's like a 2-part long chorus. I guess that's a pre-chorus. No, I would say it's like a 2-part long chorus that's just like really good.
Is that the technical term?
2-part long.
No, but
that's a 2-part longer.
How many part long is it? Oh, it's 2 part long.
Good question. 2-part long.
2-part TPLG. You know, that actually made me think about like what?
TPLC?
TPLG.
What's the G?
Long.
What's the G? Oh.
The G and long.
I thought you were doing 2-part long chorus, TPLC.
Oh.
TPLG.
That would be better.
Also,
That
it
would
could
be
be like TLC. TLC is time, love, and care. TPLC could be time, piss, love, and care.
I thought TLC was
Great.
tender love
Tender
and
love
care.
and care. Yeah. Tender
Isn't
piss, love, and care.
isn't it tender, piss, love, and care? Isn't it when you whenever you see it on like fucking an animal is up for adoption, I feel like it means time, love, and care.
I've never heard that in my life, but
I don't know. Maybe I
I've
made
never
that
heard
up.
the T stand for time.
I very well might have just never
Needs a
actually
little
seen what.
TLC.
tender love and care.
See, meaning. Yeah.
I don't know.
Tender
I guess
love
I
and
just
care.
assumed that at some point, and I thought that that's just stuck in my head.
Loving, ing. Not love and
okay.
care. Tender loving care.
I don't
Tender,
think it's
piss, and
fair
love care.
how many acronyms people just expect you to understand.
True.
You know?
You know what's a fucked up one is YMMV.
What does that mean?
It means your mileage may vary.
Oh. It took me a long time to understand what ikyik was.
In case you missed it.
Oh, no. IYKYK. I always read it as
If you know, you
ikyik.
know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Bless
Bless
you.
you.
Thank you.
BY. BYB.
That's me, baby.
Bless you, Ben.
Sorry, I completely derailed you. Derailed you.
No, I was just gonna say. Speaking of catchy songs, I got like one of the best compliments I've ever gotten this week. Which I have this little jingle that I single that I've taught to several friends, and it's very short, and I'll sing it for you here. It goes like this: if you don't know what to do with something that you got, put it in your bean pot.
Nice.
That's all that it is. But we have some friends with little kids who sing it constantly when they're cooking. And then I have my friends out in Washington. My friend texted me this week and said, wouldn't you like to know that your bean song is not allowed in our house? It's so catchy, it's not allowed in our house. And then she caught herself starting to sing it and cut herself off real quick.
Wow. I love that.
I've just been beaming from that compliment. My jingle was banned from a household because it's too catchy.
I'm so happy for you.
Beautiful. Thank
Congratulations.
you. Thanks. Anyway, that's my obsession. Great song. I'm gonna listen to it again when we're done this.
I wouldn't mind. Wouldn't mind if you ruined my life. Check it out. It's good.
So good. That's how
It sounds kind of like that, but a lot better.
Check it out. Chicka
Check it
chow.
out.
Chicka chow.
Check out,
Great.
baby.
Thanks, Erin. Great question.
Thank you.
Ben, what's your obsession, please?
What's your question?
I first want to give a quick shout out to a song I've been obsessed with, which is The Loneliest Time by Carly Rae Jepsen featuring Rufus Wainwright. The song fucks. It's so good.
It's
I
great.
love Rufus Wainwright.
Love him. He's a national treasure, honestly.
Absolutely.
So I just want to give a quick
He's
shout
an
out.
international treasure.
True.
As a
He's
matter of
Canadian
fact.
American.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, if you haven't listened to it, go listen to it. It's so good. That's a real quick shout out. My actual obsession is so the new Pokemon game is coming out next week, November 18th. The new generation. And every time a new generation of Pokemon is coming out, I get very excited about it, and it makes me feel like playing other Pokemon games. So usually in like the months leading up to a new Pokemon game coming out, I start replaying old Pokemons or playing Pokemon ROM hacks, or in the case right now, both. And my obsession is the ROM hack that I've been playing, which is this really, really cool ROM hack called Pokemon Emerald Rogue. And what it is it's a good question where they took Pokemon and turned it into a roguelike.
Oh.
Which is so fucking cool. Such a
called
good
again?
idea. Pokemon Emerald Rogue.
And how are you playing this? Do you have to do kind of shady activities in order to do it?
It is a
you have to-
roguelike.
You gotta download an emulator. You gotta download a ROM for Pokemon Emerald, and then the thing you download from Emerald Rogue is a patch that you can then apply to that ROM and turns it into the other game. It's very
Totally.
easy to do. That made it sound
Yeah.
That I feel like that sounds complicated. Yeah, like for the randomizer,
works.
yeah, it was the exact same kind of thing. I mean, the randomizer is basically a ROM hack, right?
Mod, yeah.
So yeah, it's really, really cool. You the way they did it basically is that there's like do you guys know what roguelikes are? Or should I explain briefly what a roguelike is?
Yes, you should.
Okay, so a roguelike is a genre of game where usually you have like sort of a central hub area that you return to after each like run or adventure, whatever you want to call them. And then you go, each like adventure is you go out, that's what they're called in Emerald Rogues, that's just terminology I'm going to use. Each adventure is you go out through some procedurally generated like path or dungeon or whatever. And Hades is an example of like probably the most famous roguelike in recent years. Excellent game. If you haven't played it, everyone should play Hades.
Pleiades.
Everyone should play these. And
These nuts.
everyone should play these nuts. You go through this procedurally generated dungeon, and if you die, you go back to the hub area. You start back at the beginning. And oftentimes there are like there's usually like upgrades that you can get along the way that are like maybe permanent, or like in some cases you can like collect a currency that you can then spend in the hub area on like permanent upgrades that make future runs easier, or like unlock, like in Hades you like unlock different weapons as you get farther in the game. And in Emerald Rogue you can like unlock things in the hub area also, but sort of the like thing that you're collecting along the way is different Pokemon. So like every time you start a run, you have like a bunch of branching paths you can go down, and you like pick a path, and when you go down that path it brings you to like a section of, I mean they're all based on actual like routes in Pokemon Emerald, so they're like all very familiar to me, having speedrun Pokemon Sapphire a million times. And there are like a certain number of wild Pokemon that are available in the area, usually like 4 or 6, and you can like go in the grass and like see what Pokemon are available there, and you build your team as you go, and battle like trainers along the way on these routes. And then like once you get to the end of that route, you can again go to like a different branching path. Sometimes there's like shop areas or like rest areas along the way where you can like buy special stuff, like items that you can permanently keep to use in future runs as well as in the run you're currently on. And once you get to sort of the end of a given path, there's a gym leader, and it's gym leaders from all the generations. And they have procedurally generated teams of their particular type, because like every gym leader specializes in a particular type. And there's also like you can turn on hard modes, but by default there's no way to turn this off. If a Pokemon faints during battle and you don't bring it back to life before the end of that battle, it's dead permanently.
Wow.
Like it's removed from your team at the end of the battle. So like you have to be constantly adapting and building out your team as you go, or very carefully battling to not lose any party members, because that's very difficult a lot of the time.
Is that the thing that makes it a roguelike, or do you actually...
No, the thing that makes it a roguelike is if you wipe, like if your whole team, if your entire team faints, you lose, you go back to the hub area.
And all you keep are the items.
You know, I don't actually know, because I haven't lost yet.
Wow.
I'm on like
humble
no,
brag.
it's purely a product of not having played it as much as I would have liked to by this point. I've gotten through like 4 gyms, I think. And there are 8, and then I think and then an Elite 4, which I think is again like from the Elite 4s across the entire Pokemon, all the generations.
So if you lose, you would go all the way back at the very beginning and have to do all those gyms again?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. And you do keep items. I know that for sure. I also think you might be able to keep starter Pokemon. So like before every run, you randomly pick or you pick out of 3 random starter Pokemon. And I think you maybe get to keep those. I don't know for sure how all that works. I'm like, part of the fun of roguelikes is you kind of just like learn things as you go by like trying and failing a lot of times. You can also, there are a lot of things you can adjust in this ROM hack. So there's like a way to turn on hard mode where like the trainer AI gets better. You can adjust up to what generation of Pokemon are available. So even though it's a ROM hack of a Gen 3 game, they put in all of the Pokemon up to the current generation, up to Gen 8. But you can calibrate, like you can turn off particular generations. You can have like only up to Gen 5 or whatever you want.
Can you still store Pokemon like in the computer?
Oh, that's a great question. There is a PC in the hub area.
You meant that one.
Oh, that was genuine. Yeah. You know what's funny is there is a PC in the hub area. I wonder if this is the way you can save Pokemon between runs, because there's a PC in the hub area that you can access that like has the Pokemon boxes. But I don't know that I've been able to find a PC along a run anywhere, but I haven't really been looking for it.
Because I like with Pokemon, I know like sometimes you have to like XP farm them before you can go to a trainer.
Yeah,
right?
They handle that amazingly well.
How?
So because that's a really good point. Because a lot of times you spend in a Pokemon game exactly like farming XP to get your team all up to the same level, right? Mm-hmm. When you catch a Pokemon, it'll be at some certain level. But whenever you win a battle, whenever you make a Pokemon faint, so not win it, because with a trainer can be multiple Pokemon, but like whenever you make a Pokemon faint, your entire team goes up 2 levels.
Oh. And
any Pokemon that were under-leveled get brought up to the level of everyone else.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Which, like, I think if they didn't do something like that, this game would be fucking terrible because of how often you're having to switch team members out. Even not aside from Pokemon fainting, like when you find a Pokemon that's like better on a route and you want to use it, it would be really annoying if you had to like then stay on that route and farm XP for like a while. Mm-hmm. And by the way, like the PP, which is like the number of times you can use a move.
PP.
Yeah, I don't know why that's what they call it. I actually don't know what it stands for. I think it's like power points or something. I genuinely have no idea. It's piss points. The piss points for a move. You can only use moves a certain number of times before you have to like heal again. And like that PP goes down along all these routes. Like the more time you spend leveling up, whatever, you might lose important moves later on. And there's a level cap for like a particular area leading up to a gym. And all the gym leaders Pokemon are like at that level cap. So that's another way that Pokemon games are often are easy, is that you can just like over level yourself to whatever you want before going to a gym leader most of the time. They try to balance that a little bit, but it's not like it's you can just over level to be way stronger. You can't do that in this game because there's a level cap for each area. But it's super cool. I'm really enjoying it and I'm excited to play it more. But this is a problem that I run into every time I do this before a new Pokemon game comes out. Because then the new Pokemon game comes out and I just want to play that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I will come back to this because roguelikes are very easy to come back to later on.
How does it not get frustrating to like having to like retrace your steps all the time?
Well, it's different each time.
Oh, okay.
Like it's every time it's procedurally generated. So like what Pokemon you encounter, what routes you encounter, what trainers, even the order of the gym leaders is all different.
I see.
Yeah, and often, well, I guess this is not necessarily the case with this one, but like I know with a lot of roguelikes, like Ben kind of talked about the home base area, like that's just a whole different phase of the game, right? Is like you going back and like organizing your shit and trying to figure out what did I just win? What am I going to do with it? Like getting ready for the next like run. It's a big thing in Hades, and I personally really enjoyed. I never played it, but I watched Ian play a lot of it, and like there's almost a sense of relief when you die because the in between stuff is more of like the plot stuff and things like that. And so there's a lot of ways that roguelikes deal with that to make it not feel like a disappointing thing.
in Emerald Rogue you can like unlock new buildings in the hub area that like let you do different stuff. So like it's exactly that. That's a really good point. They like. They almost have like a resource management aspect to them also built into the game, which is really fun.
So it doesn't feel like a games that have really long levels that you just keep dying and going back to the beginning and you can't get past it.
No.
Okay.
It's definitely like
is there a rogue like that I would have played, having only played like
Switch game.
5 video games to speak of.
I don't know, but you should play Hades.
Yeah, you would like.
Yeah.
Hades.
Okay.
It's very good. And it's on Switch.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm not allowed to play games until like 2 to 3 years after everybody's done being obsessed with them, and I have
Oh
to
yeah, so you're about
That would be
there.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Perfect.
I have it on my calendar for when eligible to play.
That company, Supergiant Games, actually they've made several very good games that I would recommend. Not this is their first roguelike, but they made a lot of really cool games. I just played Transistor, which was
Yeah.
their
Transistor's
second
really
game.
cool.
It's very fun.
Ian played that too, and I really enjoyed watching that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds fun, Ben.
Yeah, it's good.
That
I
sounds.
like
Do
it
you
a
not
lot.
have time? Do you not have time to play it because people keep inviting you over to their house for dinner?
No, it's because work's been busy and I have a class.
Oh, the clown.
The class.
The class.
I was like, why do you not have unlimited free time to play video games? Oh, right.
Yeah. I'm like
Sorry for your
bettering
loss.
myself or whatever.
Sorry for your loss.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that seems kind of weird. All right, should we do homework?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Great obsession, Ben. It sounds like it would actually take out.
Fantastic question, but I hadn't thought of that.
It sounds like it would take out some of the things that I find. I'm not going to do it because I don't have time to figure out what a ROM hack is, but it sounds like it would take
She
out.
doesn't have time.
a lot of the
She's book solid.
I have to get high and take notes on trash reality TV, so that takes up a lot
She's
of time.
too busy driving in the wrong direction.
But a lot of the stuff I didn't like about Pokemon was like the XP farming stuff, so it's kind of cool to hear that that's not really a thing in this one.
Yeah, it's great.
All right, what's my homework? Just try getting high and watching something, I guess. It doesn't have to be Love is Blind. If you want to. You don't have to get high either, but, you know.
What if marijuana is not legal in all 50 states?
I mean, look, use your discretion. Use your personal powers of persuasion and figure out what you're... If you're
To simply persuade it to be legal.
yeah.
Simply.
Yeah. Yeah, and let us know. And I feel like we asked for feedback on something last week, and I can't remember what it was.
Taylor Swift's album?
Yeah. Write us an email or something about Taylor Swift's album. Let us know what you think.
Thanks.
I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Hanthropology. I'm on TikTok at Hannah and her cats. I have to poop really bad. Erin, what's your homework?
Oh, no.
Do you guys ever...
Oh,
Wait,
no.
I got a question. Do you guys ever... I got a good question.
Wow.
Have you guys ever weighed yourself before and after you poop?
No, I haven't. Have you?
I was actually... No offense, Ben, but I thought of this while you were doing your obsession. I was going to do it earlier today, and then I forgot to do the after. So I might do it right after this.
You're like, I really got poop, and then you're like elongating this end segment.
I know.
Just unnecessarily. Okay. I am Erin, and my obsession is listen to Zolita. I hope that's not a shout out to Lolita. Zolita's Ruin My Life song. It's fantastic. Thank you so much. Ben,
what's your homework?
what's your question?
What's your question?
My homework is to play Pokemon Emerald Rogue. I swear it's not that hard to get a ROM hack. And also listen to Loneliest Time by Carly Rae Jepsen and Rufus Wainwright, and also listen to other Rufus Wainwright stuff.
Yeah.
And Carly Rae Jepsen, I guess,
Fantastic.
but I will say Rufus Wainwright really carries the song for me. No offense to Miss Jepsen.
Listen to, I think it's called Vibrate. Best
Yeah. I was just listening to it
That's
today.
a fantastic
It fucks.
album.
Okay,
It
all right. I
fucks.
guess I'm gonna have to be
It
the sole
fucks.
voice of Carly Rae Jepsen advocacy here. I have listened through that entire album, and it actually look. I haven't listened to it a lot because it came out the same day as the Taylor Swift album, but I'm going to listen to it more, and it is widely considered to be one of the best pop albums ever already. So,
Great. That's awesome.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not
listen to it.
surprised with this song on it. The song fucks.
what's the album called though?
Loneliest Time.
The album is okay.
I believe so, yeah. I think
That
so.
sounds possible. Okay.
Title track.
At least Google asked me if I wanted to play the album or the song when I asked to play it in the car today.
Well, that seems like pretty good evidence. So
That's good. That's bulletproof.
Great question.
TBH.
If you want to call us or text us your great questions, you can do that at 774-326-0420.
Blaze it.
We are no, you're not. Well, we don't have an episode next week, but because what the fuck?
Yeah, what's happening? Dude?
I'm trying to say
schedule. There's no schedule interruptions.
there's no scheduling conflict.
Everything is fine.
There's no
It's
scheduling
gonna come
conflict, but
out.
I just have to say I'm really looking forward to our unrecorded segment of Thanksgiving together.
Yes, that's right.
So that was all I was trying to get to. It
Same.
was so hard. If you want to
Same.
follow us on Twitter, you can do that at WayTooBroad. Who knows how much longer Twitter will be up, but you know,
for
you
fuck's
can
sake.
find us on Instagram at WayTooBroad. You can email us at WayTooBroad@gmail.com. You can find all of that stuff and much more at our website, WayTooBroad.com or WayTooBod.com or nameyourselfjame.com or nameyourselfjameegan.com
yourself Jimmy Egan.
or jameegan.com. Full stop for anything you want.
Full
Earnben.com
stop.
for anything you need. Maxfun.org for a cute dog on a boat to remind you of the summertime that will come again and has come before. And
Oh wow.
Oh, that's new.
Bandcamp.com for lots of great music, including our theme tune.
She gets poetic when she has to put that.
And that's it. So thanks for listening. We love
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Thank you so much. Great questions
you so
all
much.
around. And the podcast
Fantastic
candle
questions. Keep them
is
coming.
now extinguished.
Bye.
Bye.
Fine time to shine a little vice and a little in the bottom of the down. Slam down to the bottom in the vice. Ding down to the little in the bottom. Hey! Touch sound and a little in the bottom of the night at the bar down and a little in the bottom of the night. Touch sound and a little in the bottom of the night at the bar Dixie. No. It's way too